I'm Joan Newcomb, and today I want to talk to you about what is energy. Now, it feels a little bit like going back to the basics. We all know what energy is now. It is, it's such a catchword. It's like, ooh, the energy feels this way. Um, but how many of us really comprehend what energy is, how we experience energy, and then how being aware of energy and being conscious of energy changes our perspective of life. Okay, so from a basic sort of physics level, everything is energy. So everything is energy, and everything is as energy is in motion. Maybe just introduce two different things. So even though there's slower moving energy that appears dense, so this is density. This is density, um, and it's slower moving. It is still moving. So this is actually not solid. It appears solid, but it is a bunch of atoms, molecules are all vibrating together. And if you look at it with a powerful enough microscope, you can go beneath the surface, so to speak. So it's a focusing of condensed energy. Okay, so physical reality is a focusing inward of condensed energy. And what we have in the past we've defined as spiritual energy is diffuse. It is lighter. It is invisible to the naked eye. If we're still in the kind of physics thing, it's like oxygen is energy. Oxygen's invisible, but it has oxygen molecules that make it up. So it is still within the physical framework of reality. So oxygen is real, right? We're all breathing it. We're all accepting it. You can get tubes of it, stick it in your nose with extra oxygen. You feel it, but you don't see it. And where I'm hesitating is, in the old days, I would describe it as spiritual energy versus physical energy. And it is, but the concept of spirit and spiritual energy gets misunderstood, goes into sort of a religious realm, which then defeats the point of being aware of it. You're wrestling with all the religious definitions over time, some of which are empowering, but many of which are not. I like to use the word consciousness now and the energy of consciousness because it encompasses diffuse spiritual energy and actually goes outside the box, goes outside the hologram. So back to our awareness, it's like you're aware of temperature, you're aware of cold and hot. You're also aware of energy on a higher vibration than just or a greater vibration than just a physical. You can feel emotions. You can feel emotional energy. You can feel the atmosphere in a room. You can walk into a place and you can feel the atmosphere that is generated by the crowd. You can actually also feel the historic atmosphere of a place. I find sometimes driving on the freeway is a little disturbing because you are actually driving through the cleared away scenes of accident. There's a historical energy of places that have accidents. You can go into houses and detect the emotional energy of previous inhabitants. So all of this reality is a focusing of energy from consciousness. And consciousness is the greater awareness of all that is. And we are actually that greater awareness. Okay. We are that consciousness. We are the greater awareness that is bringing our focus inward to this present point. It also transcends past and future, but you are a focal point of consciousness. When you are aware of that and when you operate from that perspective, it shifts how you interact with everything within your reality. It shifts how you engage within your reality because you can see how everything that is happening is a creation of consciousness, and how you navigate through the circumstances is influenced by how you shift your perspective of it. Some of this is as simple as reframing something so that you're no longer, you're no longer a leaf tossed on the waves. You're no longer this sort of, shivering squirrel, affected by the storm. These things are not happening to you. Your physical form may feel it that way. An aspect of your personality may react to it that way. But you're actually you're the greater awareness of all of this is going on. And therefore, then you can react from that greater awareness. So you can respond from that greater awareness. So you're not just reacting to stuff, you're responding to it. And it gives you a greater sense of authority and seniority within those circumstances. We mistake this sometimes by then meaning that we're greater than everything else within that. So it's like, well, I'm bigger than you because you're just a creation of my consciousness. That's an egoic interpretation of what's going on because it's all consciousness, and I'm creating the circumstances and I'm creating the other personalities to be in there, but it's a collective. So those personalities that are within my framework aren't just made up cartoons that I have plugged into the circumstance. There are other aspects of myself interacting to this. So what helps is if you focus on yourself in your own navigation, in your own awareness. Reframing, as I said, shifts your interaction with it. And there's fun little energy techniques that you can use to also shift yourself in and out of states. You'd step to one side, step to the other. More details about that are in another video on parallel universes, but that's what you're doing. It becomes just a much more fun way to engage with reality. And you may be in really difficult circumstances. You might be really challenging circumstances, health problems with yourself or loved ones, financial problems, weather problems. Like I have created the snow in the Northeast. Yeah, what, am I crazy? Well, no, it's just, it's another, when you're reacting to it as if this is something happening to you, you feel the powerlessness of it. When you respond to it from and as consciousness, you are bigger than the problem and you can engage with it differently. And often then the situation will change as well. Like, yeah, there's a big snowstorm, but suddenly the sun comes out and starts to melt your driveway so you don't have to shovel it. Miraculously things happen. You've been in negotiations at work and the people have just been, stonewalling you, but you shift your perspective and you walk in and suddenly everybody's in agreement with you as if the previous meeting hadn't happened where they had said no. They're all saying yes now. You've shifted yourself into a different perspective. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when you operate as consciousness. It just makes life delightful. It makes it a playful improvisation game. So suddenly the established scripts are, you don't have to stay within the storyline. You can improvise. You may wish to be within, Hamlet or Romeo and Juliet, thinking about the outcomes of those. You may wish to be within something that may be dramatic. You may wish to be shifted and be within something that's a comedy. And you can change your own dialogue with it when you're operating as consciousness. So a little bit more than a minute today. Lots of things to think about. If you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com, NEWCOMB.com, or you can listen to the radio show Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet on YouTube. And that's it for today.